birth or age or location, right? These all are fall under data. If you collect any sensitive information, you need to obey the data privacy law for India or specific location. Maybe country like India, we don't have a proper rule, but country like Europe or US, you need to follow the Data Privacy Act accordingly. Then the data security. After you are collecting the data, you need to secure the data. Your data shouldn't be openly accessible by anyone because you are collecting sensitive private information like name or age or blood group. Those data to be protected using data security tools. So this will fall under data security tools and process controls used to safeguard the data. All right, so I'm keep talking. We'll have short 5 minutes break. So far, whatever I have discussed, you just think through it and digest. Then we'll continue after 5 minutes for second part of the session. All right, I'm back. Let's continue. Go to chat and confirm. So far, are you guys able to follow? However, I will share the entire recording and the slide I'm using that has a lot of information. But confirm over chat you are back, and shall we go and continue? All right, lovely, thank you. So then next, talk about security principles for risk management. So before go to risk, let's start with elements of typical cyber attack happen. So the typical cyber attack, if you take any cyber attack, these 4 elements must present. For example, there was a hacker hacked into publicly available website using some outdated vulnerability or old vulnerability. Now, the 4 elements are: first, hacker must perform research about particular website and scanned those ports, TCP ports, whatever the ports the website's listening. Then the hacker identified there was a vulnerability, let's say Apache or Poodle or any vulnerability found in their web server. That is second one. First, he identified through research. Second, he identified the target. The target is Apache web server using Poodle attack. Next, he exploited the vulnerability using Apache web server. Then he exploited the target by sending some malware or malicious code execution. Then he do the bad thing. The bad thing could be collecting information or threatening the business or encrypting for ransom or like acting as a ransomware. So the 4 steps: conduct research, identify targets, exploit targets, and do bad things. So these are the key elements typically happens during cyber attacks. But when it comes to risk, taking enterprises, they do scan their assets like website or internal web server or any digital resources. They would scan and understand the risk. Based on the risk appetite, they would go with 4 options. Either they accept the risk, they try to avoid the risk, mitigate the risk, or reduce the risk. I give you a simple example. For an example, take one major bank. That bank has ATM machine across the country. Roughly, let's say 300k ATM machines running across the country. Those ATM machines were procured maybe 15 years ago that still uses Windows XP operating system. Now, this is their business. They cannot replace 300k ATM machine or servers over the night to Windows 11 or latest operating system, because these devices are independent, isolated ATM machines only running that particular application to transact and deliver the cash. It is not connected to any other network. Now, that device is isolated, nowhere connected to network, no cable connection. So no way to hack. The risk may be very less. Bank may accept the risk. So they assessed the situation. Yes, Windows XP was outdated. Microsoft stopped continuing the Windows XP. But my use case across the country, 300k ATM machines, let's continue to run over Windows XP. I don't have any problem because that device is nowhere connected. It is independent, isolated devices. User input the card and key in the number, then enter the amount, withdrawing or transacting, only that application minimum function is happening. So accepting the risk. Similarly, some of the cities like maybe Mumbai or Bangalore, they may use smart electric meters. Those meters loaded with outdated Linux or old Linux version that cannot be upgraded because those meters are procured by some vendor maybe 10 years ago. That device is still running perfect condition. Changing meters for all the household would incur a lot of money for the government. Now the risk management here, as a government or a company, they do risk assessment. They go and assess the risk, quantity assessment, qualitative assessment. Then they come into conclusion that whether this risk should be accepted or mitigated. Now I come to acceptance part, right? Like the ATM use cases, they end up with accepting the risk because it is not going to harm their business. ATM machines continue to run. No one can hack the ATM device because ATM device not connected to any network. Isolated, independent devices. Now, next one, let's say come to avoid. As they know, Windows XP is outdated. Now, there is a new project bank is launching for smart ATM device. So now they don't want to go into the same situation as Windows XP. Now they figure out the latest smart ATM devices should come with auto upgrade option or connected to some level of protection so that they can avoid this risk. They are simply avoiding the risk by asking that ATM making company, I don't want any particular default operating system. That operating system should be upgradable with continuous update. So now the risk is avoided, or in general term, most of them we don't know. There is a concept called cyber insurance. High net worth people, like who is holding more than billion, they take cyber insurance. But nowadays every companies start purchasing cyber insurance. What it does, similar as life or health insurance, when you are hacked, when your company is hacked or you run into any digital fraud, cyber scam, that cyber insurance will cover the loss. For example, you are running a business, let's say worth 1 billion USD. Now, you run into a situation, your primary database got hacked, all your customer data breached into public network or dark web. Now, the law regulations or regulatory requirement, you doesn't have proper protection. You have to pay the hefty fine to the government and the people, their data get lost. Because you are responsible when you are running a business. Now, if you have taken cyber insurance, that complete risk can be mitigated or avoided. So here, primarily avoidance is the perfect fit because there is a risk, but you are taking precaution measure to avoid that risk. You are just offloading the risk to a risky, insurance company, right? So that is called risk avoidance. Now mitigate the risk. Take another example. Banking environment, they published internet banking web application. They forgot to patch the front end web server that has some low priority vulnerability, but still it is vulnerable, can be exploited by anyone who know how to scan the website. Now, bank may run bug bounty programs. That bug bounty programs, anyone can identify the bug and report, so that they will patch or identify the vulnerabilities and patch it. So now what exactly bank is doing? They are mitigating the risk, mitigating by acting to prevent, like they are doing some action. So now next one is reduce. How to reduce the risk? For example, go with the same analogy, bank. Bank has a new project. They need to procure smart devices for all their employees. That smart devices may help to scan the customers' documents or ID proof just by holding in their hand. This is the new project. Now they are assessing different vendors, multiple vendors given the quote, multiple companies. For example, take any companies like Samsung or Apple or any handheld device company, they given the quote. Now bank is assessing, they found most of the companies have some data risk. They are going to drop that project because they found that handheld device may exploit their customers' data to outside world. Maybe Samsung can take the data or Apple can take the data. So they found out more risk. They don't want to go with the project. By dropping that project, they are reducing the risk. So the impact of an event or transfer the risk, passing risk to a third party company. So they are doing some sort of action that is reducing. They are dropping the project completely because they don't want to go with this project that has the flaw. The device cannot be secure. So that's how risk management would work. In high level, this is one of the key components for this exam. We need to prepare what are the risk, how to assess the risk, vulnerability and threats. So in risk acceptance always comes with calculation, because quantitative and qualitative assessment taken by risk management. So risk is probability by impact. So how serious the risk, based on that they need to give the probability, right? So if the risk extremely high, then they make it number 5 unacceptable. The same way, same example, the bank employee is going to buy handheld device that is high risk, so they are dropping the project. It's unacceptable. There are situations they accept the risk. The same ATM machine example where they accepted the risk because no impact or impact cannot be calculated because those devices are isolated ATM devices. So we need to understand very likely or unlikely, how the impact probability, then based on that customer would act. Then security controls. Security controls start from physical security, right? Take any organization, why they are giving ID card, why they are giving door access. The company environment built by secure design. There are airports, if you noticed, their entrance always sideways, not always towards the road, because airports meant to be designed by security, I mean secure by design approach. Or if you take any CCTV camera, that camera is more than 8 feet height, they fit the camera, that wires are insulated. If you look around airport environment, the fences, after 8 feet thick wall, the fences they implement. These are the security controls fall under physical controls, because these are not administrative, physical controls, because unauthorized user cannot enter my office, unauthorized student cannot enter my college. They must hold the valid ID card or fingerprint or whatever security mechanism on the door they need to showcase, then only the security check would be passed. That fall under physical controls. Next, administrative controls fall under directives, guidelines, advisories aimed at people within the organization. So administrative controls mostly comes with respective administrative policies. For example, if someone is visiting someone is visiting you to see you as a visitor or someone is visiting you to deliver something for you within your office or college premises, how that guy is registered or escorted in the entrance. There is a policy to be derived, right? Those security policies comes from administrative controls, because some guys, you are bringing some new person into your office location. That guy first in the entrance, they need to register who they are, whom he is going to meet, what time he is entering the office building. So these informations are collected, right? These process defined by administrative controls. Then come to technical controls. This is where mostly the networking or endpoint devices fall under. Mostly your data center door access, or if you have Windows or a PC or any type of network devices, that access fall under technical controls. Always systems and networks fall under technical controls. So why we need to understand the security controls? Because we think that only we need to protect computer and networks or website is the cybersecurity. No, really no. That if you are first time hearing this, then you will read about more in this exam about security principles. We need to understand these three key level: administrative, physical, technical, or logical. So technical, always they call it as logical control as well, because firewall fall under technical control. For example, firewall, what it does, it blocks unwanted stuff. It may allow only allowed stuff from their maybe security policy standpoint, or if they have URL filtering or a forwarding proxy, they allowed only respective business applications in their system. So understanding administrative, physical, technical controls. So next time when you visit airport or any government office, look at their building. Is that built by secure by design? What is the wall thickness? What is the wall height? What height the CCTV deployed? How many security guards are standing? Why they are standing in the different section in different distance? So these all are behind some core security controls. Administrative control itself, very big domain. There are auditors and there are people purely working on administrative and physical security. How many security guards to be deployed for maybe 2000 people every day visiting airport? So there would be a calculation, this many security guards to be deployed if 2000 people visiting the airport every day. So that is another security concept or domain. It's a very big, but for this exam level, we just need to know what is physical control. For example, the question may appear like, you are bringing your colleague to your office. Your office requires to take his fingerprint. Is that what type of control? Is that physical control or technical control or administrative control? That's how the questions should appear. Now you need to select which one is correct among three or are given multiple choice options. So next, we need to understand security governance and process. So it starts from baselines. So baselines, safeguard, implementations. So baseline, whenever there is a policy or guideline built, there is a baseline, right? For example, if you are a banking environment, you are building a banking application, then your baseline would be payment card industry standard. You need to start from payment card industry standard as a baseline. On top, you can add guidelines, procedures, standards, and policy based on your company and management. But there is a reference baseline always available for the respective industry. If you are building application for hospital, then you need to follow HIPAA as a baseline to meet the regulatory and standards. So baseline, you need to understand which industry the respective company or enterprise fall under. Then that's where the baseline starts from. Then guidelines, recommendations and best practices proposed by same baseline, or it may post by your auditor and external governing environment. For example, take India. Reserve Bank of India is the governing party for all the banks. If Reserve Bank of India says You need to store all your employees' logs for 6 months. The bank should obey and follow the guideline from the governing party. Next, procedures. Procedures always instructions, set of instructions given by respective baseline that needs to be documented. So these procedures always fall under handling the situations. For example, there is a hack happened, maybe primary database stolen or the data theft happened detected by security or a SOC analyst or a security department. How to react, how company would react, when company should announce that matter to public, how to post their communication to customers, how to inform the government. These all fall under procedures because these procedures are predefined in advance. How to handle malware if there is a primary data center is down or natural disaster or war situation happens, how to react. These are the procedures pre-deployed and already available so that they will execute at the time of incident. They will not go and think, hey, there is a hack happened, what should I do? No, that's not the way that enterprises would work. There is a hack, there is already predefined procedure. Yes, there is a data breach. This is the procedure you need to form. You need to inform the customer, you need to inform the regulatory, you need to inform the government, you need to pass the notification through right channel to your users or customers. Then standards, mandatory controls. For example, you need to encrypt all your communication or all your SSL websites are SSL enabled websites. There is a standard for that. Then policy, generally policy made by a respective management. For example, take a small scale company, maybe the policy would be not that regulatory oriented because it's a small scale company, they don't have proper policy. But if you take any MNCs, take any big MNCs in India like Infosys or Wipro or any other MNCs, they should define policy very, very clearly. Like this is the policy for onboarding a user or employee to the company. This is the process when you employee leaving the company or resigning the job. This is the policy they need to follow. So those policies are defined by general management statement. Why this is attached to cybersecurity? I will give you a simple example. When there is an employee left, whenever there is an employee leaving the company, there is a process they need to follow, like revoking the access. Maybe the user has their AWS or cloud access, that should be revoked on the same day. Maybe the user may have customer data on their laptop, that must be wiped. The laptop should be submitted or surrendered. These are the policy related to cybersecurity. Let's say user left the company on Friday. The access revoke happened on Monday. In between Saturday, Sunday, that guy accessed the cloud resources and took some data and stored on his personal laptop. Now that data leaked to internet. Imagine the situation that is linked to cyber incident, right? So to mitigate those incidents, policy is required, standards should be followed, procedures to be implemented, guidelines should be there in the governance policy. Baseline will protect companies from hefty fines. For example, take HIPAA as a control that all the hospitals and healthcare institutes should follow HIPAA when they handle patients or doctor information. When they handle patients' information, the patient's data or details shouldn't be stored in doctor's laptop or doctor's devices, but doctors still need to access the data. If data violation happens or found to be doctor stored the data in doctor's personal devices, then that would attract fines from the respective governing body. That's why companies should follow policy and procedures. Now I come to very important section, ISC² Code of Ethics. Once you become ISC² member or once you complete this certification, you need to follow Code of Ethics by ISC². I just read this Code of Canons. Protect society, the common good, necessary public trust, and confidence and the infrastructure. Here what they are saying, if you are become a ISC² certified person, you should protect the society. Even though you learn ethical hacking, you know how to hack things, you know how system works, how you can make someone fool through digital frauds. You need to protect the society, you need to follow these canons. If you violate these canons, you are against ISC² code of ethics, your certification will be revoked. Maybe you no longer be able to be part of ISC² person, the certification credentials would be revoked. This is like rules and conditions you should obey when you are become a cybersecurity professional. Act honorably and honestly, justly, responsibly and legally. Why they added this statement? When you are working in a company, you are going with the favor of someone, or you are trying to hide something in the management, but you are the trusted person in the cybersecurity domain. If you are not acting honorably or honestly, what will happen? Let's say you are hiding a data breach. You are telling, or you are not telling the truth. There is a data breach, but you are not informing the respective audience or management in your company. You are keeping yourself and trying to manage something. You are not acting honestly. So that is against the ISC² code of ethics. Next, provide diligent and competent service to the principals. Here principals could be your management, your company or enterprise employers. So you need to provide competent service to your employer. Then advance and protect the profession. Since you are learning cybersecurity, you need to protect your profession by acting honestly and honorably. You shouldn't act against your profession. So as I said earlier, you know cybersecurity, you are learning ethical hacking. You shouldn't use that hacking in a bad way. You can use it for good things. You can scan the website, identifying the vulnerability, participate in bug bounty, that's good. But the moment you start bird thing, that will be leads to revoking the ISC² credentials. These all are the code of ethics may come from the exam as a question. They may give you 4 options. Choose which one is correct in a scenario based. For example, you are the security manager in a company. You have identified data breach. What would you do? Maybe the 4 option. I will act immediately, or I will report to my management. I will follow the instruction or a baseline. So now you need to apply this code of ethics. What would you do? You need to act diligently. You need to act honestly. You shouldn't hide. So that way they will form the question. So multiple choice questions may come this way. So you need to understand each statement in detail. There are multiple videos available on YouTube about ISC² code of ethics. So go and watch and understand more better if you need more clarity. So with that, I come to the conclusion for today's session. Before we wrap, I like to walk you through a few steps so that you will do your homework efficiently before next session. Because this course is not just to come and listen, forget. This course is about your commitment. You are going to put your effort and invest your time to learn to become a cybersecurity expert. So now come to a few slides where I referred some external websites. Okay, first start with about ISC², right? If you like to know what ISC² is doing, how ISC² is creating millions of cybersecurity professionals across the globe, here is the history. They started in 1989, non-profit body, but if you take latest update, the certificate in cybersecurity started in 2022. So they committed to bring more security professionals, but in 2023 they made almost 500k cybersecurity professionals associated with ISC². So that's how ISC² is, supporting the community to create cybersecurity awareness and clear cybersecurity leadership. They are offering multiple certifications. We start with certified in cybersecurity, as this is the certification given free of cost for everyone to attempt first. So we'll train you to crack this exam. So once you crack, then you can decide you will like to go to next one or you like to get a job, then you go with the CSSP. For experienced professionals, you start with CC, you will get familiar about the content and how the general cybersecurity foundation courses is supporting you. As you may worked in any vendor specific product, which you need to come out. There are situations you need to unlearn things and learn right stuff, because the cybersecurity companies are basically, they are tools. They are not core foundational cybersecurity companies. They just create tools to implement authentication. They just create tools to implement security controls. But the core foundation comes from ISC². The base foundation comes from ISC². So you need to complete each and every module so that you will understand what is CC is about. Once CC completed, you can target, the experienced professionals, you can target CSSP, as you need 5 years work experience to gain the CSSP. If you gain within 5 years, you will be called a CSSP associate. Until you get 5 years experience, you cannot get this credential, but you can call it as a CSSP associate. So if you have 5+ years experience, first try CC as a free attempt. With this training will help you to understand the concepts better. Then you can go for CSSP. Now I come back to the slide. There are another section where I talk about the ID proof, that you guys will refer whatever ID proof you need to bring. The reason I'm stressing out the ID proof, there are candidates stopped at the entry point while going to give the exam. So I guided few guys, but they ended up with taking wrong ID proof, or the proof which doesn't have their surname or second name or initial. Then they get stopped in the entry point during the exam. So make sure you are meeting that criteria clearly. Then here is the exam outline. This is talk about all the details about exams duration and exam syllabus in detail. It's already there in the slide. The next, here is where I just documented few. Here's the website, which I think already opened. Okay, so this was the blog I have written 2 years ago to help people to clear cybersecurity, certified in cybersecurity exam. So just giving you brief about syllabus, then exam duration. Step 1, first you need to create ISC² account. Then you need to sign into ISC² account, complete the ISC² candidate profile. You need to fill your name as per your ID card. Then once application is complete, you will become ISC² candidate. Now you need to look for ISCC certification and self-paced training. Remember 2 things. CC certificate is different. CC self-paced training is different. You need to add both item into your cart. While checking out, you need to apply the code so that it will turn to $0 to get this offer. Okay, so once you sign, added 2 things, certificate and self-paced training, you will get 40 hours free training from the ISC² website. Then you need to book the exam as per your convenient. I would suggest go with 45 days, because you need at least 6 weeks to prepare. As you are college students or working professional, you may get time during weekends or every day 1 hour like that. So plan accordingly. Complete all the syllabus and resources. Also here I documented wherever you see lot of free resources available from the YouTube. There are perfect content made by Prabnair, is one of the famous trainer. Then Thor is another famous trainer for ISC² content. So you can see their thing. There are people, they won't watch videos, they like to read books. Like maybe they have that habit from the college days, because whatever video they watch, they won't pay attention. If you are a person, there are book links I have given here. There is an all-in-one CC guide available. Maybe in India it may charge around 3,000, I believe. You can get that book that covers all 5 domains in detail with the examples, so that you can read that book before giving the exam. That will give you perspective. If you have online library like Percipio or any online book access, library access, you can look for this book. You can find and you can read those books from online library as well. Also, there are free practice tests included here. You can practice as much you practice, you will evaluate your skill. The primary gap I see between college and this type of exams, right? This is multiple choice question. Honestly, I will tell you, all 4 answers looks like a right answer. I used to struggle between opting out the wrong one because all 4 looks like similar. So as much questions you practice, that will boost success rate, because you are learning how to eliminate wrong answers by understanding the question. Read 1, 2, 3 times questions again and again. You will get different meaning every time you read the questions. All right, so with that, come to the conclusion. So also we are top of the hour. So with that, I'm stop sharing and opening for questions. If you have any questions, post it on the chat box. We'll take the questions. In case you like to unmute and speak, go ahead and ask anything.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Gautami. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Session was too good. Actually, I went for more knowledge from your session. Very good, sir. And have a doubt regarding the cyber insurance. Actually, you told that the insurance somewhat similar to our life insurance, like that you told. But I have a question. Like they are stealing our data, then how that thing will be compromised with the component monies? I have a doubt on that.
Okay, it's a very good question. Also, this concept is entirely new in many of the country like India, but in US and UK, it was there maybe more than 10 years. How we assess, for example, when you go and buy the health insurance, I put the same example. They first assess what are the pre ailments or issues you have. Let's say diabetics or blood pressure or any other organ disease you have. They assess, and based on that they give the premium. This is much you need to pay month on month to continue for the sum assured for health insurance. Similarly, while taking cyber insurance, let's say you are a high net worth individual. Let's say you are holding, I assume maybe you are a crorepati. Let's say you have 1.5 crores in your bank. You are going to take cyber insurance. Let's say 1.5 crore you have. My premium would be maybe 0.3 percentage. It may come roughly yearly. You need to pay 15,000 INR rupees to get that cyber insurance. In case someone hacked your phone and took 1.5 crore, that cyber insurance company would assess, and if that is found to be true through digital fraud or digital scam, they will fund you back the money what you have took the insurance for. This is for individual. When it comes to companies, they should assess all the security controls. What is your endpoint? What is your firewall? What is your security team size? How you are protecting your company data? Based on that, after the assessment, they give the premium. This is the premium you need to pay. In case any hack or theft happened, you can claim the insurance, your money will be refunded. So this is how we can offload the risk. Actually, we are basically offloading the risk to insurance company. If any hack or any security incident happens, that way it would works. But for understanding the premium or understanding how it works, for companies and personal individual totally differs, because personal individual depends on the salary or how much net worth they are having. But for companies, depends on the security measures, whatever the security controls they are having. Hope that answers your question. Yeah, there is a question about PPT. I will share this PPT as well as recorded session as I am recording this session to everyone, as you can assess any of the content as much time you needed. Also, over the period, I will share the necessary resource to slowly start your work. To do the homework, you need to sign up ISC². You need to sign up ISC² CC certification and self-paced training. You need to complete that 40 hours training program by yourself, just watching the videos. Then we'll connect next session. But I hope you cannot complete 40-hour session within a week. Maybe go with your own pace, but we will cover as much content during the session. So stay tuned, and we'll see you next week. If no further questions, we'll wrap this session. Thank you very much for your time and joining over weekend.
Thank you.